Welcome to the show, guys. Wishing everybody an amazing Memorial Day. Hope you guys are going to have a good day today. Blessings to everybody that served. Today, we got a show. We are talking, we're going to save you. Well, first and foremost, I'm going to have a fight with Tim because we're talking about players to avoid, do not draft under any circumstance. And Tim's got players that I would actually draft. And so we're going to have a fight. We're going to have a fight. So welcome to the studio, Tim. We're talking about players we want to avoid. And you've gone off the deep end here with some of the players we're going to talk about here.
I don't. The only one I know of is the first one that I'm going to say, and I think you're just too crazy on him. You haven't said much about the other two.
You'll see. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about players. We got 6 of them here today, and again, I really disagree with him. And you're going to want to stay to the last one because that's the one I really am avoiding this year. We're going to talk about it. If you are,
and guess what? I really disagree with you.
So it's honestly, it's a full-on battle today. I can't even find the bell. Once I find the bell, it's on. It's a boxing match. Okay. We got the sound effect for that. I've lost it, but we're going to find it. So Tim, I'm excited. If you're new to the channel, smash it, tap it, slap it. It's going to be an amazing fantasy football season. And I found out, I looked at the analytics, 70% of the people that actually watched the video, Tim, haven't actually clicked subscribe. And we're also available on Spotify and Apple. So go. If you guys can listen in the car, it's going to be there every morning at 7 a.m. So Spotify Fantasy Football Counselor, search it. Apple, wherever it is, hit follow so you can listen to us in the car in case you don't have YouTube up or you don't want to use any more bandwidth. Right, Tim? Then get us in the car every morning.
Why wouldn't you want to subscribe and see my beautiful face while I speak to you in my sexy, sexy voice? I don't get it.
This is actually for the people who don't want to see your face. So, guys, go subscribe to Spotify and Apple so you don't have to see Tim's face. All right? There you go.
I would take that option, honestly.
So go do it. All right. Usually we start the show, guys. Some people say, well, Joe, there's so much fluff at the beginning of the show. These are just the haters. Some people love the intros. The first part of the show, I wanted really dedicated to any type of news and notes, any type of things going on in our lives and your lives, if we have any listener things going on. So that's why I'd like to talk at the beginning of the show. We can get right to it, but there has to be a little context, a little bit about us. How you doing? How's it going? Get a little bit of chat going because we're human, right? I could be robotic and say, okay, first break, blah, blah, blah. And I just, I think we should have that element, right, Tim, at the beginning of the show with the news and notes kind of, chill out.
Yeah, well, the news and notes isn't to say anything about us and our personal lives. To me, that just comes naturally. This is you wanting to bring news and notes. Yeah. Tune in to the 6 o'clock news.
And also another thing, it's like we're independents. We don't have a 4-letter network where there's no puppet strings behind us. So sometimes we curse and we're ourselves. So we have to promote products like grab the 16-round draft solution and grab a ticket to the summit. All this stuff benefits you guys, right? Literally. So it's not copy and paste ranking. It's game-changing stuff. We get to hang out with NFL athletes online. You get a chance to ask them questions. Mind you, you got to be nice to Tim because he'll be filtering some of those questions out before you get to see Tim's. So this is where you need the visual. Tim's shaking his head, nodding his head. Yes, be nice to me. He takes bribes too. So, bribes are good, right, Tim?
Money talks, baby.
So we're going to have Kyron Williams, Trey Benson. We're going to have a ton of athletes there. It's going to be amazing. Rashid Shaheed. It's going to be amazing. August 21st. So grab your ticket to the summit, grab a 16-round draft solution, smash your leagues, the ultimate fantasy experience. All right. So now that that's out of the way, go do that. Subscribe, smash it, tap it, slap it, hit the thumbs up. Let's get to quickly here. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but
we now have breaking news.
There's nothing here that jumps out. I do want to make a point here, though, with Malik Neighbors. What I hear in the news, this was, again, we're releasing this Monday, so this came out on the 26th, correct? Malik Neighbors was open on virtually every 11-on-11 route he ran during the first week of OTAs, according to sources. So Malik Neighbors and Daniel Jones with a chip on his shoulder, that could be a good connection, dude. I'm kind of liking Malik. What you're not getting excited here about Daniel Jones, Tim?
Now when you say chip on his shoulder, what, after 7 years of sucking ass? Like, he can have a chip on his shoulder all he wants. He sucks. He's not a high-end quarterback, man. I am excited about Malik Neighbors, but still, you've got Daniel Jones throwing to you. Not excited at all.
Well, I think
maybe the fact that he was open for 11 of the 11, maybe the defense thought, you know what, this little guy ain't going to do squat. How about that? Huh?
They let him go. But seriously, because there was so much talk, we got to draft a first round pick on Daniel Jones or whatever. Like, we want to replace you because that replacement talk came in. It's like, oh man, I don't want to be replaced. I got backup quarterbacks breathing down my neck anyway. Now they're going to draft somebody first overall. or whatever with their first pick. It's like, okay, now he got scared. He didn't like all that I'm being replaced talk. So that's where, he kind of got scared and he's like, oh, well, you know what?
Cut the
I
dead weight.
got a chip on my shoulder, right?
Yeah, get rid of him. Garbage.
Why don't you like Daniel Jones? Is he because years to wow you, you're not wowed, Tim? Are you not wowed?
You got it, brother.
You're hard to please because he's got that rushing upside. Remember the whole fantasy rushing upside?
Yeah. No,
he's got it.
No, he's not there. He's never a quarterback I would look to take.
Well, he walked away from the draft untouched. I think they got Drew Lock there, Tommy DeVito. So he's good for another year, but he's got to do something this year. Other things in news, nothing really that's jumping out here. I heard Houston Texans RBs Joe Mixon and Dameon Pierce are both expected to receive plenty of offensive snaps in 2024. We all know Dameon Pierce was my guy last year, busted. I don't know what happened to him last year. Just kind of fell apart. And now they bring in veteran Joe Mixon, who's going to be slated as a starter. And they got Dameon Pierce now. So Texans are going to be an interesting offense, man. Really, it's going to be a high octane with CJ Stroud and other offensive weapons, which we're going to talk about. But Dameon Pierce expected to get some work. So I'm not drafting Dameon Pierce. After last year, it's like I burned my hand on that stove, man. I'm not touching it.
Yep.
All right, so let's just dive into it, man. Other than that, nothing really in the news that's really jumping out. I want to dive right into this, Tim, and I completely disagree with you guys. And smash it, tap it, slap it, make some noise in the comments because I disagree with Tim completely on this first player to avoid, do not draft. Totally disagree. I want to have a disclaimer here. Let's get to these players to avoid. I want a disclaimer here that I do not agree with Tim's picks, okay? Especially this first one. So let's get to it. The player to avoid, this is Tim's pick. Counselor disagrees. In fact, it says it right here in the notes. We can read Marvin Harrison Jr., counselor disagrees. Tim, why are we avoiding the stud, the top wide receiver prospect who's amazing route runner, smooth hands, top elite, ultra elite prospect? This is one of the best wide receiver prospects coming out of an NFL draft in years, since I don't know. Well, not years. There's been good prospects, but he's so good on paper and he was so good in college. And now you're telling us to avoid him? Dude, I'm all over him.
Mr. Smooth Hands Harrison. And who's throwing him the ball? Mr. I'll throw you some bricks, Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray.
Isn't that enough right there to explain it? He's going way too high. Way too high. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's not going to do well.
Right.
I'm saying that ADP on a rookie coming in with a quarterback like Kyler, no friggin' way, guys. I mean, we looked at it. We talked about this last week, I think it was, when we did our draft or pass. And I said the same thing about Marvin Harrison, but just no, the price is way too high. You've got to go back to 2020 when DeAndre Hopkins was with Kyler, and DeAndre still just put up, to me, mediocre number. I don't want to say mediocre, just not high end numbers. 1,400 yards, 6 touchdowns, 285 PPR points.
Yeah, top 4 in fantasy and PP amongst.
No, I thought we looked at it and I thought it was number 6, or it was equivalent to number 6 last year or something.
Yeah. So
that's not what I'm looking for, man. I mean, that's DeAndre Hopkins, guys. You're putting way too much onto this kid to come in and just absolutely destroy. I don't see it. I don't think it's happening. Not with Kyler Murray.
So in your defense, I want to just say that Marvin Harrison is expensive in drafts, but let me explain why. And also in your defense, you can get a Keon Coleman. Now, on paper, obviously Harrison, scouting reports, paper, all that, Harrison's a better athlete than Keon Coleman, but you never know because now you got Josh Allen. So any type of lack of, let's say, physical talent, essentially, you're making up with a better quarterback throwing to him with no Diggs and Gabe Davis there. So there's over 220 plus attempts freed up for Keon Coleman. His average ADP right now is round 7 to 9 in a 12-person league, which is amazing. And now you got Marvin Harrison, who's got a quarterback who's been lackluster, to say the least. Let's say he sucked the past couple of years. I don't even want to say lackluster. Sucked, can't stay healthy, and he's coming off in the second round, okay? But again, the reason you're doing this is because elite talent, bounce back year of Kyler Murray, and not to mention as well is the talent of Marvin Harrison and the gap between him and whoever the other wide receivers there are. Let me just take a look at who's kind of in that field. Zay Jones and Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, Chris Moore, guys that have had years to wow me, Tim, and I'm not wowed. So there's actually a huge gap between Harrison and literally everybody else on that team. So they got Trey McBride, who's going to be catching some balls here as well. Trey Benson, I'm excited about as the rookie who's coming to our sports summit. But man, I don't know. I think you're nuts.
It doesn't matter. Quarterback makes a wide receiver. This quarterback's not making squat.
Okay.
I'm sorry. He's not going to be a top. He's not worth a very early second round pick. Not in my, like, he's a rookie coming in, bad quarterback. Take him in the third round, maybe fourth round. That's kind of where he should be. Everybody's reaching on him.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, let's move on here. I still like him at the value in the second round. I really, really do. I think he's
price. Don't say value. The price. It's not a value. There's no value there.
Absolutely, caught me on that. The next guy, and I don't care. I'm gonna do an episode of this every single week, and I'm gonna say, do not draft. I'm always gonna include this guy and my next guy and the guy after. Okay, so if you don't like broken records, you might not want to listen to any episode labeled "Do Not Draft" because you're gonna hear it. Mind you, it's still good to have that hammered home because some people just don't listen because in one ear out the other. And I really want to hammer this point home, okay? The next guy I'm talking about is Keenan Allen. Do not draft. So when you look at this offense here, we're talking Chicago Bears who aren't aware he doesn't play for the Chargers anymore. Those are just checking back in May and saying, oh, I'm back in fantasy. What's happening in the offseason? You weren't tuned in. Keenan Allen, washed up, old. No, Joe. And the reason I just kind of echo myself and say this stuff is because I know what people are thinking. No, Joe, Keenan Allen's not washed up. Dude, he's like 31 years old, drafted in 2013, missed the last 3 weeks of your fantasy football playoffs and championships last year, and was literally just force-fed by one of the best quarterbacks in the league in Justin Herbert last year. Now he gets a rookie quarterback, Tim, a rookie quarterback entering a situation where they have a established wide receiver in DJ Moore, wide receiver 1. He's in there now. Now you've got like 2 wide receiver 1s. So it's like Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man, like that meme, like, who's the wide receiver 1? It's me, right? It's kind of like the dodgeball. What was that movie with, I can't even think, the guy from Meet the Parents, Ben Stiller, and he's modeling the blue steel pole.
Oh my God.
Okay. You guys are going to help us in the It's one of those movies I know, right? Blue Steel. And so anyway, the models are kind of looking at each other like, look at you, look at me. I'm a male model. Look at me. Well, it's the same thing. And now to top on that, you got Rome Odunze there. Rome Odunze, the top wide receiver prospect, if not the best wide receiver prospect coming out of college. And again, going back to say it was an offense that's totally new. We don't know what's going on. I don't trust DeAndre Swift at running back there. And you're telling me that I got to spend a 3rd to 4th round pick on Keenan Allen? Tim, come on, man. Like, there's no way, dude. I'm not doing it. No way. Let somebody else let your idiot league mates take him. I'm just really, really hyped up about this. You understand?
Because, man, we went over Keenan Allen the other day too. And listen, the last 7 years of 150 targets a year.
I don't care.
That's not force feeding them the ball. That's a guy who deserves the targets. The only time he had 1 year in that 7-year stretch where he didn't do it because he got injured. Other than that, 150 targets each of the last 7 years.
Okay, I don't care. But listen, what I'm trying to say here is
I don't care about your reality talk.
You clearly didn't listen to what I said.
I listen to he's getting up there, man. I will give you that. Not the greatest team. Yeah, some rookie, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, like rookie. But even still, like, this is Keenan Allen. They brought him in for a reason, man.
DJ Moore is there.
Seasoned veteran.
DJ Moore is there. Rome Odunze, who's the best wide receiver on that squad right now. And by the way, that movie's called Zoolander.
Ah, yes.
Zoolander. I'm a male model. Look at me. So yeah, these guys are just battling it out. Who's the wide receiver 1? I'm not drafting them. I recommend do not draft any of those wide receivers. Mind you, like I said, similar to the situation that's going to happen in Houston, which we're going to talk about in a minute, near the end of the show. Some of these guys are going to have big games. Keenan Allen's going to have a big game here and there. So maybe for best ball, consider, but I'm staying away from this entire wide receiver core. I'm not doing it, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not thrilled about them, but to say I would never take him in the 4th round if he's there, you got to see how it's played out, who else is still there. To me, Keenan Allen is a safe bet. Price, maybe a little bit high, but not much.
Yeah, man. To wrap it up, do not draft Keenan Allen. You learned your lesson last year. You missed the last 3 weeks of your fantasy football playoffs and championships. Don't do it. He's not going to see anywhere near 150 targets. You have my word. Let's move on to Tim's next guy. And I disagree with you on this one as well. And I want to hear why you're not drafting Jonathan Taylor. I kind of have my reasons. I kind of see this.
I want to hear your reasons too. So let's just roll into it then. So his ADP is number 12, like very end of the first round. Even let's say even early second round for a guy that's been injured the last 2 years, only played about 60% of the games in the last 2 years. Anthony Richardson's a wild card. Taylor's monster year was 18 rushing touchdowns. Like that's when the monster happened and we talk about it, the bias. You just remember his name for this. That's all that Jonathan Taylor's really done. He's had that one monster. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on this. Let's put it this way. I'm not drafting him. And I'm not like there's other people at his ADP I'd rather be drafting. I think there's more upside with Gibbs, even though he's got Montgomery there. You just know that Gibbs is that special player that's going to catch a lot of balls, finish top 10 no matter what. If Brees falls, I don't think Brees is going to fall that late to 12th pick or by Jan, he could fall. But I'd rather probably even get a wide receiver at that point, right? I don't know. Something tells me I don't feel as warm and fuzzy. And then you look again, I go back to Anthony Richardson. I look at the 4 games he did play. And in 3 of those games, he had like 4 rushing touchdowns in the goal line, 4 rushing touchdowns, 3 games, man. Like we're talking the guys that do a lot of rushing, guys like Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts near the goal line. They're rushing in 15 times a year. And that's relatively high. It's not going to be this high this year, hopefully, because they got good running backs this year. Well, Saquon's there, and the Bills drafted a couple guys, including Frank Gore Jr. Hopefully he gets some work. But either way, what I'm trying to make is if you got 4 rushing touchdowns in like 3 games, man, like you just want to run. It's like, okay, you got a running back. Is that like, I'm going to be annoyed. It's just, mind you, he's not in a committee. Like there's nobody else I'm feeling is going to hinder him. So that's a plus, and he's due for a bounce back. And another negative thing I want to talk about here is the fact that he has been paid. I think he signed a 3-year, $42 million or something like that. So it's not like he's playing to get fed. Like he's fed. His belly is full. So
let's put it this way. When CMC had his 2 years of getting injured in a row, the best fantasy football running back ever, you always say, don't draft. Injury prone. Well, guess what? Jonathan Taylor, last 2 years, injury prone.
Yeah, he's not doing it, right?
And nowhere near a CMC talent. Like, let's be honest. No, man. The price is way too high here.
I wouldn't say that. I think he's a really good talent, but he just hasn't been able to stay healthy. That could mean
he's not CMC.
I don't know about that.
You are blinded on CMC. I cannot believe the blindness you have.
I'm not sold on CMC being outstanding. He had 2 good years, but those 2 years where he busted for everybody, and he's due. He's done. He's got a Super Bowl hangover. It's happening. This is the year. CMC's going down. You'll see. It's funny. I was at the bike shop today. I was at a bike shop looking at bikes. I didn't buy one because I don't know which bike to get. And I don't even know if I have time.
Bicycle.
So that's a totally different, like, for a frame of mind, bike shop, you're thinking like Harleys or something, right?
Or like a crotch rocket.
Yeah. So I was looking at a bicycle, okay? Like, a pedaled one. So anyway, I'm talking to the guy that, that sells bikes. And he's a young guy, probably in his 20s. I'm like, dude, do you play fantasy football? And he kind of recognizes, yes. Because sometimes when they just see me out, they don't really recognize me, and unless they really listen to our channel regularly. But 100%, I've seen you. Your reels come up, blah blah. And then I was just talking to him. And where am I going with this? I was going off on a tangent with the bike shop. I lost my train of thought on this.
You got thrown with all the people thinking you're going out looking for a Harley.
See, I was doing good until you started talking about.
That's my whole job here, is just to make you look stupid.
Anyway, so I was going on something about the bike. Oh yeah. So he saw me and he's like, "Hey Joe, I recognize you." And he said that, it came back to me. And he said, he's in a keeper league. He's telling me about his fantasy team. Because as soon as we talk, they see me, or like I say I do fantasy, there's fantasy questions that come up. I do this with celebrities. Celebrities DM me, Ken Shamrock, all these guys that I've talked to, interviewed.
Yeah.
Fantasy questions, throw the names. Yes. So he's like, I have CMC as a keeper. I said, get rid of him. Get rid of him now. Dump him off. He's gone. So yes, CMC, don't draft him. Get rid of him. I'm telling everybody, even the bike shop people,
The
pedal bike.
bicycle
shop people. All right. So anyway, Taylor, I'm with you on this a little more than I am with the Marvin Harrison Jr. pick. Let's move on here. Okay. Next one here. Again, Joe's a broken record, but Joe has to get his point across here. Nico Collins, do not draft second or third round ADP. He was a wide receiver 1 by default. Okay. I'll give you a quick example here, Tim. If you and I are we're playing football. Okay. And you're the only receiver on the field. That's it. It's just him. I'm even though I know he can't catch probably as good as, most people.
Or take a hit. Yeah.
Or take a hit or do anything else. But if you're on the field, Tim, and I throw you 500 balls, you're going to be the wide receiver 1 because you're the only one there. Same thing with Nico, man. Dell was banged up. He wasn't there. Some people say, well, he had good games when Dell came back or was in the game. I don't care. Dell is back. He's going to be healthy. Mind you, he got shot in the offseason. It's crazy, man. Anyway, he'll be back. And then you've got Stephon Diggs there, who was the wide receiver 1, who is a diva, who is used to getting 150 targets a year. You think he's going to come in and just say, hey, man, we're just going to let Nico get the ball, and I'm not going to say anything. There's a chance that CJ Stroud just hyper targets Nico, ignores Diggs, and then we've got some drama in the locker room. It's possible, but I don't see that, man. It's just no way is Nico. He's going to have some big games, especially some big touchdown games, 2 touchdown games here and there. But the consistency to have a second or third round ADP return on investment ROI, it's a hard pass for me, man. It's just like a straight nope, not doing it.
You know what's funny is Nico is a big-bodied dude. I think he's 6'3", 215, something like that. And then Tank Dell is like 5'10", 185 or something. Yeah. He's like a sea hair bigger than me. And he got almost as many touchdowns as Nico. I think it was one less. I think it was 7 and 6 or something like that, maybe 8-7. And he played less games.
Yeah.
So that whole thinking of, Nico being the one getting all the touchdown, no, it's not necessarily true. And then you add Diggs to the mix too. Like, hell no.
Yeah, and like I said, I would draft Nico where he was coming off last year. If you want to give me Nico around 14, 15, even then I'm not turned on by. I have no desire to draft Nico Collins, knowing that there's going to be games where it's going to be a Dell week or it's going to be a Diggs week. The DDs, designated drivers, designated whatever, receivers, whatever. Dude, no way, man. There's no way. I'm not doing it. And I could be wrong. Nico could come out and be, I just don't see me being wrong about this. And yet everyone's telling you to draft this guy. This reminds me so much of last year. T. Higgins, round 2. No, I told you, don't do it. Waddle, Devontae Smith, these guys are clear-cut 2s. And you guys are drafting this guy on a guess. That's the thing. You're drafting Nico Collins on a guess. He could be the one. Or you're drafting him on a copy and paste from last year. And that's where, Tim, I get upset. And that's where 16 rounds is the difference maker, okay? So you're not drafting me. That we agree on this one?
Absolutely.
All right, let's move on to the next guy here. And again, I don't see a problem with this guy at all. I don't think he's that bad of a wide receiver. I think the target's going to be there. I don't get as excited about him, but the guy we're talking about is Chris Olave. Tim's suggestion, Chris Olave. I mean, I don't see the problem here. 5 touchdowns, a little on the low side, but what's the issue with him?
Well, that's the thing. So last year I expected a lot better than 2022 because last year they brought in Derek Carr, throwing quarterback. Yeah, you're not a fan of Derek Carr. Neither am I really. Like, he's one of those guys that just can't get to the top echelon, He can get you there. He can do pretty well. He can put up some pretty decent numbers yardage wise and then just falls flat. Anyways, thought there were good things in store for Olave last year. I was really high on him. It didn't pan out. And you look at the first 2 years Olave's been in, they're pretty stagnant, man. 2022 and 2023 with 2 different quarterbacks are pretty much equal. So why are we thinking there's going to be anything different this time with Derek Carr still in the mix here? No, man, the price is way too high for this.
Yeah, I mean, he's the clear one there. I think Rashid Shaheed definitely takes a step up this year, but he's kind of a speedster guy, deep threat. I think Olave has a good year, I
think he has another 1,000 yards, 1,200 yards with like 5 to 7 touchdowns. To me, that's not enough for ADP 17.
Yeah, I mean, kind of where he finished last year, right? Like, where did he finish last year?
Yeah, it's identical to last year. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, it's not exciting. he's safe kind of where his ADP is. I think I'd rather have him over a Nico Collins over a Keenan Allen because there's less of a committee, right?
Yeah.
More consistent rapport with a quarterback that's proven that can consistently feed him. So I think he's a safe play. I think he's not over the moon exciting. I think he takes a step up from last year, but I'm just like not giddy. I don't think he has the ceiling of other guys like a Garrett Wilson or Marvin Harrison, which are, a little more risky because Aaron Rodgers coming off injury. How is he going to gel? I think Garrett Wilson has a much higher ceiling, but he comes off earlier. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say don't draft. I just say boring for me. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I'd like him a little later in the second, early third. Maybe now you're talking he's in the mix. Just too high of a price.
All right, last guy here. Let's go over it. Let's hammer the point home. Christian McCaffrey is my last guy. Tap it, slap it, smash it. Let me know what you guys think of this one. Christian McCaffrey, I'll give you a couple of reasons right now. Injured 2020-2021 season. Played 10 games in those 2 seasons. Improved the last 2 seasons. Finished second amongst running backs the 22 season. In 2023, finished as a top running back. It has never happened. Well, it has in 2002, 2003, and I keep talking about it. Priest Holmes was the only guy that went back-to-back consecutive on-top seasons. So I'm guaranteeing you, this is almost a guarantee, unless Christian McCaffrey makes absolute history, fantasy football history yet again, and repeats, which has never happened since 2002, 2003. It's been like over 24 years. We can say, well, it's due, Joe. He's going to do it. No, he's not. He's 29 years old, Super Bowl hangover. They've got Deebo Samuel. They got all these weapons. They got George Kittle. It's different offense. They drafted one of the top, not top. He's Isaac Guerrero. He did well at the combine. Good 40-yard dash. I think it was, 4-point? It was pretty low. Isaac. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They got Isaac Guerrero there. I don't know, man. I don't feel good about it. And first overall, no way, man.
I want to kick you in the balls so hard when you talk about Christian McCaffrey.
4.33 Isaac Guerrero ran. The guy they drafted.
I don't give a rat's ass. Okay, so Christian McCaffrey, 230 points rookie year. And then the very next year, 390. And then am I seeing right? 470.
What?
And then injured for 2 years. Fantasy points, PPR, of course.
Yeah.
Then injured the next 2, and then back with a 360 and another 400.
The 471. Okay, the 471 was 20. That was so 2019, man. That was like
that was so 2019.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's a lot. Do you want me to look up what was happening in 2019?
No, because I don't give a rat's ass. In 2022, he put up 360, and in 2023, he put up another 400 almost.
Law of averages
on this guy. I don't care if he finishes number 1 overall. Don't get me wrong. But if he's putting up a 350 and he finishes second, third, I am totally stoked. That's where I put it. I don't care if he repeats in a pinnacle year.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
He is Christian McCaffrey. He is the best fantasy running back ever.
All right. Did you get out of your system yet? Okay. Well, let me add, and this is gonna tick you off even more. Mark the date, May 26th. I guarantee, Scout's honor. I was never a scout. I guarantee that Christian McCaffrey gets hurt this season. He is going down.
People hate it when you do that crap because nobody predicts injuries. Nobody wants
He's just due. I'm not saying I want injury. I'm just saying he's due for an injury. He's been too perfect for too long. Don't you like my analogy? If you're running across...
like the fact that you said he's been too perfect. I really love that part.
There you go.
Because you're damn right about that.
Okay, okay, he's due. He's due. He's going down.
You will remember May 26th, the counselor stated the fate of Christian McCaffrey for 2024.
You know who you sound like with that voice? At first, I thought it was an evil voice, but it's not. It's Fern Gully. Did you ever watch the movie Fern Gully?
Dude, I remember that, but that shows how old we are. Let's not talk about that.
That's the evil spirit that comes out of the bulldozer or whatever it was.
I can't say I know the movie that well. I remember the name, and I remember it was a bunch of greenery around.
Sorry, it's Fern Gully time now.
It's not. It's the great and powerful counselor. Yes.
Sorry.
All right, that's enough of that. So do not draft Christian McCaffrey. You're spending a pick on a guy who's going to get hurt and decline this year. Super Bowl hangover. He's not going to happen. He's going down. It's happening.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Tim doesn't believe me. All right. You guys will see. Listen, I called last year. Don't draft Dalvin Cook. He busted. Don't draft Austin Eckler. He busted. Don't draft Tony Pollard. He busted. Don't draft Keenan Allen third round. He busted the last 3 weeks of your draft.
Last year, did you say don't draft CMC?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You can't be right on all. I said don't draft J.K. Dobbins. He busted, and on and on and on and on. And I said don't draft CMC. You can't be right on all of them. CMC is my Achilles.
What about 2022? Did you say probably don't draft CMC?
Yeah, don't draft CMC. So, but hey, I was right on Eckler. I said don't draft Eckler. I finally got him. And people say, well, eventually you're going to be right. Yes. I'm going to keep riding it till I'm right.
Take the W when you get him, baby.
Right until you're right on this player. All right, man. We're out for today, man. Thank you guys. Have a great Memorial Day. Spend time with your family. Hope you guys are listening to this on your drive. And if you guys are listening to this on the Tuesday, you get 2 episodes because maybe you're not commuting. And follow us on Spotify and Apple. Go subscribe there as well so you get us on audio if you don't want to see Tim's face.
Exactly. Save yourself from looking at this.
All right, guys. Thanks. Subscribe, thumbs up, smash a tab, and go grab 16 rounds right now and a ticket to the summit. We're out. Bye, Tim. Thank you.
See you guys.